Okay. Uh, yeah, so my name's Derek, and I'm the Global Market Intelligence Manager for GE Vernova Steam Power. With that, I oversee the wholesale power markets across North America, with primary focuses on fossil fuels, nuclear, and the industrial applications as well. Been in the power industry for 17 years, and had various roles throughout that. Uh, my degree is in engineering, so that's some of my background as well. Engineering um, and field maintenance, where I previously had a team of about 11 engineers that worked for me, um, as well as spending some time in sales, where I also led the North American fossil part sales business as well, where pretty good success in that as well. We took a $55 million portfolio and turned it into 110, which has now led me into the market intelligence side, trying to deliver strategic growth initiatives and strategic outlooks for the business, both in the short term and the long term. So that's kind of me and where I've spent and my background in power.
Thanks, Derek. Yeah, so what I wanted to basically kind of visit with you on some leadership management styles. I guess I'll start with a question. Uh, do you feel there's a difference between management and leadership, or are they essentially the same thing?
I do think there's a difference. I think there's some overlap, and I do think there's a difference. Um, when you look for leadership, you're really looking, to me, it's someone who's somewhat innovative, someone who's looking to take things forward, versus management, where it's just a let's get the job done mentality. When you look to leadership, you're really looking to help the team improve and strive for a larger team outcome. Uh, versus management is, to me, is more just focused on an individual or on an individual outcome. Uh, but when you look to the highest performing teams and looking to achieve the highest results, it really requires leadership and the ability for teams to work together effectively and efficiently, and share knowledge much the same way. So I kind of see that as the difference. Again, they do overlap. A leader is also a manager. A manager may not also be a leader, but the two definitely cross paths from a leadership perspective.
Thank you. Um, how would you describe your leadership style, and how has it evolved throughout your career?
uh, so my leadership style is very direct, um, very uh, results focused as well, and with that, I try to lay out clear objectives. Um, that being said, uh, when you go to look at what it takes in order to do that, part of my leadership style has also been to try to eliminate roadblocks as much as possible. So if you're working for your team, then your team's gonna work much better for you. But in that regard, um, you've got to empower the team to make decisions as well. They need to know the rules of the game. They need to know the outcome, and then let them work within those rules. I'd say over time, I've probably softened a little bit in the directness, um, as new generations come in. That style has changed a little bit, but overall, still really the same. While the messages may be coded a little bit softer, the directness is still there, the understanding is still there. People work really well when they know what they're striving for and what they're achieving. What clear and concise communication allows them to do. And then the other piece of that, like I mentioned before, is really taking their feedback and understanding what they're striving for and what they need. One other thing that I would say goes into my leadership that I find somewhat different than what the corporate world deems as acceptable today is I do strive as much as possible to push for uh, some some more of a personal relationship with the employees. At the end of the day, your employees are giving you a lot of their time, and they oftentimes have families and various things that are going on in those avenues of life, whether it be kids or spouse or various different things. I've been given feedback by HR that at times that, oh, you don't want to get involved in that, um, you know and the reality of it is that uh, those folks are going to find those things far family life and certain avenues outside of work far more important than they do the job itself. And so trying to be accommodating in some of those instances and not so robotic as, oh, well, this is work and that's home life, and I don't want you to bring your home life here, and I don't want you to take your work home there. So I probably deviate from the norm in that regard. I just think that if you're going to be leading people, that takes a certain understanding of the things that, for one, motivate people, but two, also um, that there's going to be challenges arise, and it's often been my discovery, sometimes beforehand and sometimes after the fact, that when people start to struggle in a workplace environment, it's often driven by those personal factors.
Mhm.
Very seldom do a person that is struggling in a work setting or career setting that it's being driven by work uh, issues. Now, I'm not to say I haven't found incompetent people for the position that they're in. Nothing against them, but they probably need to choose a different position, or had instances where people weren't up to the task that they were given. But oftentimes, when you see a sudden behavioral change, more often than not, it's being driven by something outside. So being able to have somewhat of that personal relationship, I think, really starts to allow you to be a leader. Um, and there's obviously some cautions around that, but it really starts to allow you to be a leader again and not just a manager.
Yeah. So, how do you introverted and extroverted employees both have a chance to contribute effectively and equitably?
Sorry, what was the question?
How do you ensure that introverted and extroverted employees both have a chance to contribute effectively and equitably? What kinds of things do you do to blend those personalities?
Yeah, so I mean, the extroverts are really easy. They're oftentimes going to jump out there and offer their assistance, their support, their help. Um, the introverts, the real, really the way that you've got to have them contribute is to be direct with them and seek their feedback. If you don't explicitly seek their feedback, they'll sit back and never give you their feedback.
Mhm.
So, um, I, you know, I think that's really the sounds a little cliche and sounds a little bit too easy. Um, Oftentimes it's not somebody that's so introverted that they won't ever say anything, and so it's easy sometimes to overlook them. But the reality of it is that if you see somebody that you don't think is contributing as much as they could or as much potential as they have, is directly start to ask for their feedback and their input, to where they can have an opportunity to provide it.
We encourage cohesion, collaboration, knowledge sharing, or trust across teams or departments. Like if you have to integrate your team into other departments within GE.
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts out with a clear goal, and a clear objective. Um, I think back to um, my time as running the part sales team for North America, and some of the opportunities that we had before us, and some of the financial targets that we were able to set were reliant on our sourcing teams, our supply chain teams, and so really going and being able to work across those teams. I don't exactly know if I know how to describe how you do it, but I think the key is that you do work across those teams. So if you want to sell, uh, quantity 10 of XYZ, but you don't have anything to sell, then you've obviously got to go work with whoever in your organization procures that, so that you can have it in available to sell, and then know what that cycle time is. So in those instances, you've got to have really a feedback loop, an open feedback loop from both sides, where you're 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 talking to a procurement type position, saying this is what we need, what can we get it in. They come back and say, okay, this is the cycle time that we can get, or this is the dollar amount it costs us to stock, or whatever the situation is, right? Every one of those situations can be different. um, and then get the team to start providing their input. Okay, I have, you know, three of XYZ that I think I can put in my pipeline, and I think I can convert, two of those, and then, another person will come and say I have four and think I can convert two, and so then you start to pare this down to the point where, okay, we need, four on hand. We need to know the cycle time to get four more, uh, and and then provide that feedback, knowing that if you're wrong and you can't follow through with your duties, that there's going to be uh, negative consequences for the procurement side, and so you've got to be focused to make sure that they don't fail as well. I mean, that feedback loop has to be open. It has to be continuous, and you've got to be able to work across those boundaries. So again, I can't say that there's any one solution to working across those boundaries, but the key is to understand where the boundaries are, and then to go work across them.
Yeah. Well, Derek, I think that's all we have time for today. But I appreciate you sitting down and taking the time to interview with me and sharing your knowledge and things like that.
Yep, you bet, man. No problem. Anytime.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.